In this video I'm going to talk about triangulation. A narcissist will use this as a manipulation tactic. It's a way to communicate with their victim via somebody or something else. So rather than communicating directly with the victim, it's an indirect, covert, passive-aggressive tactic. And what they'll do is they'll use another person, or it might even be a pet, it might be even a place, to belittle the victim. And so one of the ways they might do this is they might seem to prefer the golf course, for instance, you know, to their partner, or they might pay a lot of attention to the pet dog when they're ignoring the victim if the victim's annoyed them, you know. Or flirt with a waiter to make a point that their partner hasn't completely won them over, that really they're not all that special. They use triangulation to belittle their victims and to get a sense of power. During a romantic relationship with a narcissist, they will often triangulate where they might talk about somebody else who they compare you with, you know. So it might be that they're saying, oh, this person, something about their physical appearance is amazing, you know, or something about the way they treat their boyfriend or girlfriend is amazing. And so you know, so that makes the victim feel inadequate. As long as the victim or the victims are trying to adjust their behaviour in order to get the approval of the narcissist has control. An example of the way a narcissist might use triangulation at the end of a relationship is to make a big deal about their new source of supply, you know, the new partner that they have, and to make it look like, you know, that they're just absolutely amazing and they're everything that the ex-partner wasn't. Something triangulation does to a victim is it makes them feel replaceable. So if a narcissist is always comparing you to somebody else, or if as soon as the relationship ends they're with somebody else, that can make the victim feel replaceable. And one of the things that's important to recognise after a relationship with a narcissist is that you're not replaceable, that you're irreplaceable, but that what's happened is the narcissist has never put focus into knowing you as a person, and that's going to be the same with the next source of supply. They're not interested in who the person is. They see people as objects that they can use, you know, for their own source of narcissistic supply. And so even during the idealization phase, if you ask a narcissist, what do you like about me, the answer is going to be quite superficial. And that's the same with whatever they see in the next person. You know, sometimes the next person can be quite a surprising choice. You might think that doesn't seem like this my ex's type, for example, and that's because very often it doesn't really matter. They just need a source of supply, and so they'll grab any source of supply that comes their way, you know. And that's why you often have people making choices, you know, celebrities making choices that surprise everyone, and it's often because they're narcissists, and that new source of supply gave them so much positive attention, and that's what they were looking for. Something that triangulation will do is it will make a victim question themselves. It might be very subtle. It might just be something like, oh, that never annoyed my ex. You know, it could just be something that gives you a sense that maybe you're misjudging something. You know, maybe you have your own issues and you're seeing things a bit wrong, you know, and that's what the narcissist wants. When a narcissist uses other people to communicate with you, they're often pleased to get the attention. You know, it'll often seem as if the narcissist is close with them, and they can then feel like they're allies of the narcissist and just feel so pleased to get the attention that they compete against you for the attention of the narcissist. And this creates a sort of competition between the different people that the narcissist does communicate with. Those that they do communicate with feel a sort of sense of superiority. Of course, the focus is very fleeting because the narcissist focuses on whatever it is that's going to give him his source of supply at that time, you know. But those people feel special. And in this kind of situation, because feeling special gives them a sense of like they're winning the respect of the narcissist finally, people become then very preoccupied with that. And so there's this competition that they have with each other for the affection of the narcissist. And when the narcissist pits them against each other, you know, this just increases that competition, and it makes people just care a lot less than they would have done about each other, because you know, they're not allies now. And you might see this with siblings, where two siblings, for instance, are pitted against each other. You know, oh, Sophie is so good at taking criticism, but you really overreact. You know, you should be more like your sister. Or Simon is so good at maths, why don't you just concentrate like he does? You know, that kind of thing. What that does is it creates sort of animosity between the siblings, and it also means that rather than confide in each other about the abuse that they're getting, they will be in competition with each other, vying for the narcissist's attention. And this reassures the narcissist that they must be superior, because they're having these different victims sort of, you know, desperately trying to get their attention and trying to compete with each other for their attention. They can punish victims for not sticking with the status quo. You know, anyone who stands up for someone or sticks out or steps out on their own independently is punished by the narcissist. They might be very cold towards them and compare them to those people who are not behaving like that. And one of the ways they'll do this is to spread gossip, you know, to lie to one victim and say that the other has been talking about them behind their backs. You know, everything that they do with triangulation leaves the victim feeling like they're replaceable, they're not really that important, and it fills them with self-doubt, where they question, should they react the way they do? Are they right to feel this way? As long as a victim is reliant on the narcissist's approval, they will always be powerless, and the narcissist has all the power. And this is the way that they can control different supporters, that each one is vying for their attention, and they can be punished as soon as they speak up, you know, or stand out on their own. And all of their competitors will not be supportive of them, because they're just not interested. They see each other as competition for the narcissist's love and affection. It can be tempting for a victim to idealise those people that they've been pitted against, you know, because they might seem like a better person, because the narcissist has intentionally talked about them in a really positive way and compared them to you. And you know, so for instance, that might be the new source of supply if it's an ex-partner, or it might be a sibling, or it might just be a friend of theirs that they just keep comparing you to. But it's really important to not idealise this person yourself, because this is just a tactic of the narcissist. It doesn't mean that that person is any better than you, or that they, you know, their qualities are just shining, you know, like a diamond, and you're just rubbish. It doesn't mean that at all. It's just a way that the narcissist was manipulating you to try to get supply from you, and to try to make sure that you feel dependent on getting recognition from them, so that you're fully within their control. A narcissist will also devalue somebody else to the victim as a sort of source of leverage, because what they're saying is, I can have a really low opinion of someone. Are you going to be like that, or are you going to be someone that I'm going to think is special? You know, so they might talk about their ex in a derogatory way, or if it's not a romantic relationship, they might talk about your sibling in a derogatory way, or just somebody else, you know, to show that they're going to judge you if you step out of line. A narcissist can often feel like they're the victim, you know, because if somebody criticises them, or even if even if somebody just protects themselves and keeps a distance from them, they can take that as criticism, and they can then see the true victim as the persecutor. And so the way that triangulation works then is the narcissist will go to a rescuer, and the rescuer sometimes isn't even real. You know, they might say to the victim, well, I spoke to Sue and Tom, and they said that they think that what you're doing is really bad for our marriage, but it might just be a lie. And often the rescuer is a real person who might be fooled by the narcissist and really think that they are the victim and want to defend them against persecutors. And sometimes they might be aware of what the narcissist is like, but they're so keen to get that affection to be the focus of the narcissist again, that they're willing to do their bidding. But sometimes this rescuer isn't able to see the narcissist for who they are. You know, they might be quite damaged themselves, they might be really in need of the approval of the narcissist. A narcissist will play down successes of the victim, and they'll make a big deal about the successes of other people. That's using triangulation to make the victim feel like they're not really that relevant, what they did isn't really that great, you know, and to just keep them feeling a lack of confidence. And you often have people who are really at the top of their field at something, who never feel like they're achieving enough. You know, they never feel like they're doing well enough. Maybe they feel fraudulent, or like they're just lucky to have done so well. It's just a fluke so far, you know. But this is often because their successes were trivialized when they were growing up. And often triangulation would have been used on them, so the successes of somebody else are made a lot bigger while they are made to look smaller. So when you're healing from narcissistic abuse, it's really important to recognise your successes for what they are, you know, that they are really great, and that they're nothing to be minimised. So I hope that was helpful. Please feel free to write about your experiences of triangulation, and please subscribe, and see you in the next video.